do not kind of lump the A's in with the bottom feeders, because I promise you, if you compare this A's lineup to, say, the Rockies lineup or the Marlins lineup or the White Sox lineup, it's not in that same comparison.
Okay, A's fans, let's talk about Nick Kurtz, their top prospect. Is he coming to the show in 2025? It's Baseball America Prospect Profile. Scott Braun with BA's JJ Cooper and Geoff Pontes. Obviously, I want to get your take on Nick overall, but JJ, do you think that he will make an impact on the 2025 A's, a team that could surprise some people and certainly could use some more help to the lineup?
If he's healthy, and that's a big if because he's had some injury issues when he was at Wake Forest, but if he's healthy, I would say I would be surprised if he doesn't. The best way I could lay this out is if you look at Jacob Wilson, kind of his path and him last year, Nick Kurtz should, if anything, move faster than Jacob Wilson. Nick Kurtz has less concern about the defense. He's he's a very good defender, but he's a first baseman. So we're not really having to worry about that too much. And then on top of that, you talk about his polish at the plate. Well, this is a guy who came out of Wake Forest. It's, not a little bit more, higher, a tougher conference in college ball. And everything we've seen so far as a pro, which admittedly is about that much. It's a very short pro career so far. But everything that the A's have seen so far seems to indicate that Nick Kurtz could absolutely be a fast mover. The way I would put it is if I was Tyler Soderstrom, obviously you can kind of fit Soderstrom in a couple places, could DH. But if I was Tyler Soderstrom, I would really want to get off to a really good start because there is a Nick Kurtz-sized freight train coming down the tracks behind him, and it would not shock me at all if by mid-season, a little bit after that, we see Kurtz in the big leagues. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if he kind of hit the ground running in the majors because, Geoff, this is a really impressive and a really polished bat, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think, even the athleticism of Kurtz is probably a little bit undersold. He's going to stick at first base, but I think it'd be a plus for first baseman. I don't think we'd necessarily talk about first base defense and care that much about it, but it is important, and I think it does make a difference. I sort of look at the lineup right now. They have Rucker kind of penciled in at DH. It wouldn't shock me if if Kurtz comes up and they want to keep Soderstrom's bat in the lineup. Maybe Soderstrom moves to DH. They move Rucker to the outfield and he kind of pushes out Seth Brown. I could see Kurtz coming up by July, maybe even a little bit earlier than that. But by mid-season and kind of holding down that A's first base job, they need something to get the fans excited. It could be a better team than people expect. I think Scott hit the nail on the head when he said that. But I look at Kurtz, and I think he's also super polished. The bats of ball skills are well above average. The swing decisions are plus. The power is plus. Like his raw power isn't that far off from Jack Caglianone, and he has much better plate skills, is a better first baseman. I think this was one of the best hitters in the draft. It was a really talented college positional class with Bazana, with Kurtz, with Weatherholt, with Caglianone, and others. And it wouldn't shock me if we come back to this in a few years and say, all right, like Nick Kurtz might actually be the most impactful hitter, maybe not all around player, but just in terms of what he can do. The big question is just staying healthy. He really hasn't made it through a full year healthy. Every single summer during his college tenure at Wake Forest, he was shut down, had some sort of procedure. He had the same thing when he came into pro ball last year, and then it arrived in AFL a little bit late because of it. So I think the big thing with Kurtz is just staying on the field and staying healthy. We've seen this with hitters before. You can go back and, bring a name up like Ian Kinsler, a guy that was really injured over the early part of his career and then kind of became an Iron Man. Like I've heard this expression before when it comes to hitter injuries, but, with pitchers, it's kind of, a sign of things to come when there's injuries early on. With hitters, sometimes it's just little stuff, and even some of the tissue injuries can go away over time. That's not to say that it's something that you should sort of like just, wave away with one hand and ignore. But I do think as long as he stays on the field and is healthy and gets a full first half, it wouldn't shock me if he spends the second half of the season in the major leagues and really hits, because I think he's not that far off from being a major league quality hitter now, just a matter of maybe just seeing it a little bit more.
I will offer one counterpoint as far as a hitter, a top draft pick hitter who started out with seemingly like an injury-plagued career, then had a stretch of success, and then the injuries came back, and that would be Anthony Rendon, who kind of the unfortunate example of that. But no, I agree with you in general. And the thing that does stand out, Kurtz, is it's not like he has a back injury that causes his problems year after year. He had a rib injury, he had a shoulder injury, and on that shoulder injury, I remember when that happened last year, there was some thought like, okay, are we going to see Nick Kurtz again during the during the regular season for Wake? And he was back really quick, had a hamstring injury. These are the kind of injuries that they happen, and obviously it's not great, but they're not things where you say, oh, that's a chronic shoulder injury or a rib injury. That's the kind of thing that that you say, okay, it may just be a fluke. And if you put that, whenever he's been on the field, Nick Kurtz has always performed. So it's not even something where it takes him a long time when he gets back. When he gets back, he's usually back. He has that swing. He really knows his swing where he just kind of hits the ground running and back to being a polished hitter almost from day one when he comes back off the IL.
Okay, and then I'm going to take the global picture, of course, for this A's team because they're trying to get themselves into a better public sphere as they head to Vegas at some point, maybe, but at least spend some time in Sacramento. And I think this is the team that has really gotten the most negative attention in our sport for the last at least half decade. Is there a future here just based on the farm system, right? Because, I mean, this team still gets tied on a casual basis, JJ, to the movie that came out a couple decades ago in Moneyball. And really, they haven't been ahead of the curve, I would say, for a while now. So do you think they're at a point here where at least the losing has led to some success with their farm system that's able to supplement a team that's now at least spending a little bit more and could turn them into a wild card contender?
Well, I think so, because I think that you look at this team right now. Geoff mentioned Brent Rooker. Brent Rooker had a breakout year last year. Lawrence Butler, had a great half of the season last year. This is the team that now do not kind of lump the A's in with the bottom feeders, because I promise you, if you compare this A's lineup to, say, the Rockies lineup or the Marlins lineup or the White Sox lineup, it's not in that same comparison. This is a team that right now can put a reasonably reputable lineup onto the field, and then you throw in if a Kurtz and guys like this arrive before long, it could get even better. Now, the AL West is wide open. It does not look like that the Astros are the Astros that dominated this division for years. We'll see if the Rangers can get back to the team that won the World Series 2 years ago. But all that being said, the A's look like a competitive team, and that's a big improvement, even if, okay, they're going to be a competitive team playing in a minor league ballpark.
That's right. Yeah, this team could make some noise in 2025 and some promise here going forward, including also a pretty good manager who they extended recently as well. And that seems to be the formula, man. If I'm the A's, trying to pinpoint that young talent and get some extensions going, because otherwise you're going to get closer to free agency and probably have to move those guys unless they're suddenly going to be spending at a different level. I highly doubt that. I'm worried about them paying their construction bills for Vegas if that happens. So anyway, A's fans and anyone else, hope you enjoyed this one. We have prospect by prospect team number one prospect profiles for you. So if you want to learn about the number one prospect on each team, we're here for you. We've got all of them. And if you don't see one, then it's coming soon. And make sure you subscribe to Baseball America over at baseballamerica.com for way more info there.